All right, you good?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
We're back. No, we're not.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Somebody's people from work are texting me. Put it away. Don't look at it. You don't need that. Okay.
We're back once again for another holiday episode, the second annual courtesy listen holiday spectacular. Because it's the most courteous time of the year, and we're here to celebrate it with you. Adrian, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Most courteous time of the year. I disagree, but yeah, we'll
that's
go with
probably
that.
not true.
We'll go with that.
That's
Yeah, there's
probably
some
not
real
true.
people being real rude out there, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's a reason that Andy Williams didn't use that, in his song, as we're going to find out here shortly. Not to not to get into spoilers, but we are back. We are doing kind of the same thing we did last year, where we each picked 5 Christmas albums and had the other person listen to them and disregard that. Could you hear that?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. Hang on one second. Alexa, make an announcement.
Good evening, Tom. What's the announcement?
Please don't do any announcements right now.
Announcing.
Please don't do any announcements right now. All right, we got this.
What? I give it 30 seconds. It's going to announce.
It's going to happen again.
Okay. Heard.
So anyway, once again, we picked 5 Christmas albums each for the other person to listen to, and then we'll rank those at the end. I'm sure last year, I can't really remember all of the ins and outs of our episode last year, but I'm sure we kind of got into the concept of the Christmas album. So we
did extensively. We extensively talked about whether we liked Christmas albums, whether we didn't like Christmas albums, Christmas music in general. So if you're interested in that, go back and listen to last year's episode. Pause this, go back, listen to Christmas Volume 1 and come back to Christmas Volume 2.
So we'll spare you that this year. But Adrian, I do have one general thought before we get into it that I wanted to ask you. And that was, do you ever look at certain artists who didn't record a Christmas album and think, man, you really left some money on the table? And I'll give you one. I always really respected, as much as I enjoy Christmas albums, I always really respected that Billy Joel didn't put out a Christmas album, because that man could have printed money.
Yes.
If he had put out a Christmas album in like 1995.
Right. Well, I think that goes from
10 million easy.
I mean, not everybody's selling 10 million copies, but there's tons of artists who never did a whole Christmas album, maybe did a Christmas song here or there.
Yeah.
And had they put out an actual album full of songs, it would have been an easy sell. And even if the music wasn't that good, as we will maybe hear in some of these albums today, but it did seem like there was a period in time, and I don't know if that period in time is even over yet, but where everybody was putting out a Christmas album, where it's like you signed a record deal and the little asterisk on it is like you're contractually obligated to do X number of Christmas albums.
Yeah, agreed. And the one modern artist, well, modern is a stretch, I guess. We're dating ourselves here, but the one artist, who is still consistently putting out music, who I'm surprised has not done one, is like John Mayer. Like, can you imagine a John Mayer and Friends Christmas album? Like, I feel like that would sell dozens of copies. I would too. I would too. You'd get like John Mayer and Ryan Adams, and see, like, this is getting you. You're ready for this album. Yeah.
My wallet is ready.
Yeah. Likewise. So, well, with that, I guess we'll jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I will start by picking one of my albums that I selected for you to listen to. And what we will start with is, we're big fans of Bob Dylan voice on this podcast. It's sort of become like a meme. So one of our albums that I chose was Bob Dylan's Christmas in the Heart, which he released in 2009. And Adrian, before I get into my thoughts on this album, I would love to hear sort of your take on it.
My take on this, I don't know if you're going to agree with me or disagree or like this take or not like this take, but this is, I listened to this Christmas album exactly once. and I will never listen to it again. So
No, how dare
yeah.
you?
Oh my God. It's like, okay, listen, I enjoyed the instrumentation. I enjoyed the background vocals. I enjoyed the harmonies, the music. I enjoyed everything about this album except for Bob Dylan, because it sounds like it's the worst Bob Dylan impersonator on his worst day impersonating Bob Dylan. It's too much. So, you know, yeah, that one. And I was kind of like, okay, this could be interesting. This could be interesting, but that you just got hit over the head with that trademark Bob Dylan voice on that album. Kind of sounded like Oscar the Grouch to me singing. You'll have to go back and listen to it and see if you hear Oscar. But
I mean,
I have a couple questionable tracks, but I don't want to just rip on it nonstop. Let me hear your take, and then I want to hear. Maybe we'll talk about some of these same tracks.
This album is a very acquired taste, and I don't begrudge anyone who just hears his voice and thinks, not for me. I get it. I'm also a big Tom Waits fan, and Tom Waits has an interesting voice. That's not for everyone, but there's some similarities here between Bob's voice and sort of the evolution of Tom Waits' voice too. I think this is a great album, and it's incredible considering how old Bob Dylan was at this point. But his exuberance for Christmas really comes through in all of these tracks, whether they're upbeat or whether they're more somber. His excitement really, I think, makes this album. Really enjoyed the opening track, "Here Comes Santa Claus," which I think is a tough song to pull off. Like if you're not doing like a kids album,
yep,
it's hard to do that song with a straight face,
And maybe that's part of my dislike for this album is he really comes out of the gate strong on that. Yeah. And I think you listen to that song by any vocalist, and it's really kind of in your face. And perhaps, had he shuffled the track listing a little bit, maybe it wouldn't have been so like an instant turnoff to me.
I also really like the second track is "Do You Hear What I Hear?" And nobody ever does that song. That is a great tune. I really like that song. I wish more people would do it on their Christmas albums. He gets into some of the secular ones too, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," "Christmas Blues." Now that's a great tune. That was popularized by Dean Martin, and I still think Dean's version is superior. But Bob's voice lends itself well to the Christmas Blues.
Yep.
I remember I played "Must Be Santa" while Becky was around, and she was like, "Turn that off immediately," because it's like a polka.
That's exactly what I wrote. The "Must Be Santa" polka. Yeah. Which also, did you catch in that in "Must Be Santa"? He's not just listing off reindeer names and things, but he also then starts listing off the presidents for some reason. He's like, did you catch that?
No.
It's like Reagan and Bush and Clinton. It's like, what is happening here? You'll have to go back and listen for it. I had to open the lyrics up and be like, did I really hear what I thought I heard? And in fact, I did hear what I thought I heard.
I thought it was fun. I really like this album. It is something that I listen to, I would say, once per holiday season. It's not my favorite Christmas album by any means, but I do think it's good.
Listen, I will give it to Bob. He also on this, he does "O Come All Ye Faithful" on this album.
He does.
In Latin.
I don't like that.
In Latin. So even if I don't like the verse and don't like the voice and don't like this, I was like, okay, he's putting himself out there and doing something that not a lot of other artists maybe would attempt.
This is like, we had a discussion offline about when churches do the Silent Night in German. It's the same.
Yeah, who's this for? Was our discussion. Really. Yeah.
In spite of that, I really do have a lot of affection for this album.
Good. Well, and maybe it's an acquired taste. Maybe every year I'll start on track 2 and give it a go, and we'll see if my thoughts change at all. Let me see. Let me go to my list here. I do want to jump in here and just say that when we pick these albums, we did not pick our favorite necessarily Christmas albums. We didn't have any sort of set genre, set years. It was all very kind of, random. And I tried to pick a good smattering across the board of things. And I know I would assume you did too, because I know what you picked. And so, some of these albums were ones that I had heard before. Some of them were albums that I hadn't heard before. So, and just kind of picked because of the artist looked interesting. But I'll start it up with Sounds of Christmas by Ramsey Lewis Trio. Initially recorded in 1961. Ramsey Lewis Trio was a, really instrumental jazz trio out of Chicago. And this album is piano, drum, bass for the most part. A lot of, well-loved Christmas songs done in jazz. Before I go into what I enjoy about this album or what I thought about this album, Tom, I'll let you give it a go.
Sure. Well, this is one that I was familiar with.
Same.
It was a great choice. This is a great Christmas album. I think some of the whole record is great, front to back. I think some of the highlights I put down in my notes. This is maybe the best version of Winter Wonderland ever recorded. I also like the version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I thought it was an interesting interpretation of it because it's sort of a melancholy version of it. That's almost always a very upbeat tune. And, I thought they did something different with it in a way that was still interesting, because I have some thoughts for some other albums about how difficult it is sometimes to make a sad Christmas song. Great jaunty version of Sleigh Ride.
Yes.
But I think my sort of overarching theme for this album is this is an album you can play at any Christmas party and it will be a hit.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it deserves a place in your collection just because of its versatility. And if you have folks over during the holidays, you could put this on for any crowd and people will enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it has a good mix, mostly of Christmas standards. So it's not like they're playing a bunch of random songs that nobody's going to recognize. There's no vocals, so it is kind of nice, instrumental background music. If you have the vinyl record version, or I guess if you're listening straight through on Spotify, side one, the initial tracks are just the trio. And then when you get to side two, you flip it over, then you add in of like a big strings arrangement, which I always love. And that I feel like for me, side two felt more Christmassy, I think, than side one. Like if you listen to the original songs, the original song on side two felt more Christmassy to me than the original song on side one, but just because of the inclusion of the strings. Let's see, what else do I think? If you like, I think a jazz Christmas album that a lot of people know is obviously Charlie Brown Christmas, Vince Guaraldi. And as I was listening to this, I was like, oh, this is very much like Vince Guaraldi. It's a good touch point for people. But the more I listened to it, I was like, no, I don't actually think they're both jazz, but they're not really as similar as I initially thought, because I think this one, Ramsey Lewis Trio has a lot more variety in the piano playing, and has some really heavy handed parts, which I enjoy, and more kind of fills here and there. And Vince Guaraldi maybe is more kind of even keel. So if you like that one, check out this one. It will not be exactly the same, but maybe good. I really enjoyed one of the last tracks, What Are You Doing New Year's Eve? Mm-hmm. It has just a great piano breakdown like that one. God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. I feel like he interspersed it with a few of my favorite things from, I guess from Sound of Music, or I don't know if that's from somewhere else as well, but kind of mix that up in there.
I'll have to go back and listen. I didn't pick up
just a little bit of the phrasing in there. I was like, oh, are we sampling here? What's happening? So, or maybe it was the other way around. If favorite things came later, I don't know the timing on that, but yeah, great album.
It is, and it was an excellent choice. And if you like this album, there's a sequel to
Yep.
it. There's a more, what is it? More Christmas
More Sounds
songs?
of Christmas.
More Sounds
This
of
is
Christmas.
this is Sounds of Christmas. Then we have More
Yes.
Sounds of Christmas.
More Sounds of Christmas is also excellent. And
Agreed.
okay, well, we'll keep it moving. And I think where we will go next is the Andy Williams Christmas album by Andy Williams, which came out in 1963. You, whether you realize it or not, you have heard Andy Williams before. He is sort of one of the quintessential crooners of that time period. So Adrian, let us know, what did you think of the Andy Williams Christmas album?
I mean, this is kind of, I would say, if you had to pick the Christmas album, an album for the Christmas album, this would be near the top of consideration for top Christmas albums. Just most well-known, beloved, has great renditions of a lot of these songs. I enjoyed this one. I do have an issue though, not an issue, I have trouble. I sort of like bundle Andy Williams up with Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra as far sometimes as I'm listening. I don't know if I would necessarily, Frank Sinatra I could probably pick out, but the Bing Crosby and him and some of the other guys, I don't know if I could necessarily pick him out versus somebody else. But this was still a great album, nevertheless. We have It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, which is a great version of that song. His version of Oh Holy Night is one of the most, I think, emotional and really emotionally moving versions of that song. It really, great versions of that song. New to me was the song Sweet Little Jesus Boy, which was interesting. I thought that was a really great Christmas album, with the exception of, there was one song that just threw me for a loop, which was A Song and a Christmas Tree, which to the tune of the 12 Days of Christmas. But it was all these random things that people, I don't know if they're bringing it to a party or they're like setting up for Christmas or what, but it was like, what's wrong with the 12 Days of Christmas? Why is that? Why can't we just do the old way? It reminded me, we also had an offline conversation recently about AI Christmas songs that are like a kind of like a weird mishmash of an existing song where AI has like tweaked it some. That's what this reminded me of. If I heard that song without having heard it here, I would definitely be like, oh, this is AI. This has to be a weird AI version of 12 Days of Christmas. So overall, great album. I could do without that one song.
Yeah, I like this album a lot. This is a big hit. I think It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year is just, to me, it is different than what you get from a Frank Sinatra or a Bing Crosby or something like that. It's just, stylistically, I think it's a little more modern in a way than like what I think of when I think of like Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby's a little more somber. I do think Bing's version of White Christmas is the quintessential version. So, I mean, Andy does it here as well, but I favor Bing's version. The real one in this house, though, the indispensable track off of this is definitely Happy Holiday / The Holiday Season.
Yes.
And if anybody in my home utters the phrase, it's the holiday season, everybody else will immediately echo in their best crooner voice, it's the holiday season. Whether it's December or not, we will do that 12 months a year. And I appreciate it because like both of my daughters, like when they sing this, they do like this crooning voice that just cracks me up.
Well, that's what he was. He was a crooner. Absolutely.
I appreciate Andy Williams for like imparting that, posthumously upon them. It's his legacy, I guess. But I like this one a lot. I like it. If I was going to get any Christmas album by any of the artists that I sort of lump into this larger category, it would be this one. I think it's better than any of like Frank Sinatra's Christmas albums, any of Dean Martin's Christmas albums, Bing Crosby. I think this is, if I was only going to get one sort of from this era, it would be this one.
It would be this one. Well, and it
Yeah.
has, you know, a lot of well-known tracks that are, you know, every track is like is a good. There's no misses on this. So if you only can pick one album, that's a good one to pick just for that fact alone, that there's no kind of wasted tracks on there. Final thought. I did think it was interesting how they split this one. Much like Ramsey Lewis, we have no strings and strings. This one was split, all of the secular songs on side one and then all the religious songs after. So I thought that was an interesting choice that they made rather than interspersed. Yeah. So just interesting when you're looking at the track list.
I do have one more thought, and I want to get your opinion on this, because this is a song that's going to pop up on a number of the albums that you and I selected. And so this is not necessarily an Andy Williams comment, but I do not like the Christmas song. That is like, of all the sort of secular standards, I can't stand that one. I don't know what it is about it.
Is it too slow? This is the Christmas song is chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Yeah, on an open fire.
Is it? It's sometimes I feel like if it's not done well, if it's like drag, you feel like someone's like dragging it out of them. I could see how that could be kind of a negative. You know, you're ready to skip.
That's definitely part of it. I feel like the song goes nowhere. I also, for some reason, hate the kids from 1 to 92 line. Like, I just think that's absurd.
We're all young at heart. Come on.
Yeah. The song just does nothing for me. So anyway.
All right. Well, that was Andy Williams, 1963. We'll stick with that same time frame. Just a few years later, but if you ask me, feels like light years ahead. We have in 1967, we have Stevie Wonder's Someday at Christmas. So this was a young Stevie Wonder. Do you think about this album, Tom? Someday at Christmas.
So once again, you picked several albums that I was quite familiar with. This is one that's been on my radar for some time, and I love this record. This is just an excellent Christmas album. I think the title track, Someday at Christmas, is just an incredibly poignant song, and remains, I think, as true today as it was when it was written in terms of the sentiment. Incredible song, you know.
Well, and for those that aren't familiar, it talks about, what's the very first line? What is it? Someday at Christmas, men won't be boys making war, you know, this kind of like opening, talking about war. We talk about someday at Christmas, children won't be hungry. We talk about people won't be going without. So if you hear that, it's a boppy, upbeat kind of musically song, but then you stop and listen to the words and you're like, wait, it's kind of a juxtaposition there.
Someday at Christmas is the song that Happy Christmas, War is Over wishes it could be. Because I think we established last year, I hate Happy Christmas, War is Over. Just an abomination of a song.
Yep.
Someday at Christmas makes the same points in a much
worse
more
way.
Yeah.
In a better way. Someday at Christmas makes it better. What year was that? Well, that was after.
It was.
Happy Christmas, War is Over was after. So maybe they were like, it worked for Stevie. Maybe it'll work for us. But did not.
Well, you know. So, but I mean, Stevie, that was part of his gift, you know, was just being able to, you know, share messages like that in a way that didn't come off as preachy, you know. So it's a great song. But the rest of the album has a lot of highlights too. You know, he has Silver Bells, and first of all, I love his version of Silver Bells. It's among the better ones. I don't know if I've ever heard a bad version of that song. I love the song Silver Bells, and I will listen to it anytime it comes on, no matter who is singing it. I will listen to that whole song because it's a great tune. Especially you and I both work in kind of downtown, like urban areas, and that's one that I enjoy listening to.
Right.
Sort of
in that city kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that one of the few missteps on this album, in my opinion, is Ave Maria.
Mm.
That was an interesting choice, and it's not necessarily Stevie's interpretation of it that I find poor. It's just I don't care for the song. I never have. Um, that was an odd choice.
I don't know. I liked his version of that. I maybe because it was so different from
Yeah.
The rest of the album, but I wasn't offended by that one. That one wasn't the worst of the worst that we're going to hear today for me.
No, it definitely is not the worst of the worst.
Let's see. You know what? Kind of along the same lines as the title track, Someday at Christmas, there was the song Bedtime for Toys. Most of this album is original songs. There are mostly, he's not just singing Jingle Bells the whole time. So we have Bedtime for Toys is another original song on here. Not necessarily written by Stevie, but written by someone else. And he talks about it's time for all these toys to go to bed. But by the way, there might be Santa might be too busy to get all of the kids in the world a toy. And there may be some kids who have to go without toys at Christmas, but we're going to think of them and, may they be blessed anyway. And they're happy with what they have. And kind of an interesting take for a Christmas song where normally everybody wants to pretend like everybody's life is made better in December and things are going well for everybody across the board. So it was interesting to hear that one. Maybe like a little, reality check.
Yeah. One of the other tracks I liked on here was I've always enjoyed One Little Christmas Tree.
Yes.
I think that's a fun one.
That one was trying to say like, one little Christmas tree can light up the room. One little Christmas tree can change everybody's mood. That kind of was the gist of that song. One person can make a difference. One person can brighten up a community. One person, can have an impact was kind of my takeaway from that one. So yeah, good one as well.
I think in summary, I would just say, if you only purchase one Christmas album of the 10 we discuss on here, forget all of mine. This is the one you should buy.
Yeah.
It's really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Tom, you'll appreciate this, but our local record store posted a bunch of Christmas albums a couple days ago. Like, we're putting all these out. All of these will be available for purchase tomorrow. And this was one of them. And my lovely husband attempted to go to the record store and snag this one for me, but somebody got there first and beat him to it. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, if maybe it was somebody we know or, pick this one up if you can. Definitely a great album.
Okay. So up next, we're gonna move on to stylistic departure here. We're gonna go to Neil Diamond. Now, Neil has several Christmas albums in his repertoire, all of which are excellent, I would say. But the one we did is the most recent, A Neil Diamond Christmas, which I believe was released in 2022. This was the most thorough of his Christmas albums. And so before I get into this one, Adrian, let us have it. What did you think of A Neil Diamond Christmas?
Neil Diamond Christmas. Well, let me preface this by saying I am not a Neil Diamond fan the other 11 months out of the year, and this album does not change that fact. So, it was fun. It was fine. It was a guy singing a ton of Christmas songs. This was a huge album, lots of tracks here. There were some things that I appreciated. I really like some of the interesting instrumentation on some of these. He sings Morning Has Broken, which is like a traditional hymn kind of Christmas song, has a mandolin in it, which I really liked. I appreciated that. There's a couple Silver Bells with the pedal steel is like front and center on Silver Bells, so there were tracks that I listened to and I was like, okay, this is good. I would maybe put this one on a Christmas mixtape, but there were a few that were just kind of weird to me. This song Cherry Cherry Christmas.
That one's awful. I won't defend
Not
that
Merry
one.
Merry Christmas.
Horrible.
Cherry Christmas.
That song is really bad.
What does it mean?
I
mean,
don't
it was just
know.
like, what rhymes with Mary? What else could we say?
Yeah, I didn't overthink
Cherry.
that one. That one was bad.
Yeah, so I'm going to wish everybody a Cherry Christmas when I see them this year. And if they know what I'm talking about, then I'll know they've listened to the podcast episode. And if they don't, then I will accost them for that. But yeah, that was an interesting take. I really laughed in that song, how in it he name drops himself sort of in that song. Did you catch the line where he says, we'll have a toast. We'll have some wine. Maybe we'll sing Sweet Caroline. And just,
Oof.
yeah.
Just that's horrible.
Oof is right. Well, he's got a reference. It's like a very Inception type thing there. So
yeah,
that was interesting. What about you, Tom? You have favorites on this album, or maybe not so favorites?
I remember. So I've purchased, I think, all of his Christmas albums at various points, and his earlier Christmas albums were heavy on the rotation, kind of throughout my adulthood, I would say. I like Neil Diamond. I don't like Sweet Caroline. That song's terrible. But I like his voice. Like, he only has, whether it's an upbeat song or sort of a slower song, he really only has one way of singing. I mean, I would say it's like the singing equivalent of saying like an actor chews the scenery. Like, he sings everything like as hard as he can. And especially for Christmas songs, I really enjoy that. His version of Happy Christmas, War is Over is probably the only version of that song that I like.
You like it? Okay.
I like it. He actually sings it well. Pardon me. Jingle Bell Rock, that's awesome. His version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, he does it kind of like the Bruce Springsteen way.
Yep.
That's enjoyable.
There is good variety on this album.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that he's not just, it's not like he's just locked into Christmas mode and everything sounds like it's just one big run-on song. There is, some differences in how he does it. So I do appreciate that.
I like his original tune, You Make It Feel Like Christmas. I think that one's excellent.
Yeah, that one, this is a very niche comment, but in that, I appreciate the sentiment, which is basically like, you make it feel like Christmas, even if things are going wrong or, people aren't getting along, we're cranky, whatever, whatever. You make it feel like the holiday spirit, whatever. But in there, there's a short little line, a short little phrase that he says a few times where he says, "Lovers in love." And it reminds me of the Aquabats song, "Lovers of Loving Love," so that's a very niche comment. But if you've ever heard the Aquabats "Lovers of Loving Love," where it's just like this mouthful of marbles for a second, that's what, as Neil Diamond is singing "Lovers in Love," that's what my brain instantly then was singing the Aquabats to myself as he's finishing up the Christmas song.
That part was weird. But the rest of the song, I really, it feels like, I don't know, for some reason, it feels like a Vanessa Williams song to me or something like that. And I mean that in a good way. And there was one more I was going to look at here. Oh, gosh, how could we leave this out? He does a version of Mary's Boy Child, which is not the definitive version of this song, because the definitive version of this song is by Boney M. But I still really like Neil's version of Mary's Boy Child. It's excellent.
Well, and maybe I'm going to bet money now that Christmas Extravaganza Volume 3 next year, we will talk about Mary's Boy Child next year.
I would count on it. I would count on it. And finally, I just say I really enjoy his version of Joy to the World, which closes this album. Mm-hmm. He kind of does that opening, that "Let every heart," it's
very Neil
great.
Diamond.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. I enjoy this record. It's solid.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Let me see. Where shall we go next? Let's go to, we'll go to 1999. Lesser known band. I think probably the least known band of the. Well, I wouldn't say that. Maybe not the least known band of all these albums we've
Nope.
chosen, but no. The band Low and the album Christmas, 1999.
Yeah.
So you may know the song. The opening track is Just Like Christmas. It starts out, on our way to Stockholm, it started to snow. It's like the opening line. On our way to Stockholm? On our way. What's the lyric? I don't know. Something like that. So people may know that song, but probably won't know the band otherwise. Tom, what did you think of this album?
So I really like the song Just Like Christmas. I think that's a great tune. This is not the first time where I know one song on the album and I like it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to enjoy
This is going to be great.
And then I listen to the rest of the record and I'm like, oh boy, nope, I just like one song.
Yep.
Yeah, I did not enjoy the rest of this.
I had the same feeling, and I picked this album only knowing that one song. And spoiler alert, we own it on vinyl. And I was like, oh, I'll choose this one. I know this one song. I want to dig into the rest of it. Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, nope.
As soon as I heard Long Way Around the Sea, which I remember from last year because it's a David Bazan song, I was just like, oh no, we're in for it.
We're back again. I knew that would be referenced here because it is. This out is very. The word that I noted to describe this album, which I don't know if it's a word or not, but I said it's very dirgy. Like there's a lot of dirges.
It is. Yes, no, that is accurate.
Yeah.
I noted for Little Drummer Boy, is that a bagpipe playing in the background? I mean,
probably.
I'm not sure. The thing that bugged me, I think, most about this is the closing track. I think it's called One Special Gift. And they say, like, after we spend money on presents for like nieces and nephews and friends, there'll be enough money left for one special gift. And they keep repeating one special gift. And that's just the end. You never hear what the one special gift, what's the one special gift? You know, that really left me hanging.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the same feeling. And it was like, right. What do they want me to take from this song?
Right.
I also kind of was wondering what you thought about this song musically because it's so sparse and the album and like the drummer, the singer, it's a husband and wife and like a stand-in bass player. She plays the drums, but she literally plays like one snare, maybe one snare, one floor tom, and one hi-hat or something. I don't know. But it's like the most minimal drum setup ever. Did that register with you at all?
That doesn't do much for me. I think, and I respect minimalist drummers, but I think you at minimum for a kit you need a hi-hat, a snare, a kick. You need at least two toms, a floor tom, and like one mounted there. You really want three, but I can understand two. You need at least one crash and one ride.
No, she had half of that.
Yeah, no, I can't. That's not acceptable. But then, like, there were tracks on there just when I looked at the track list that I expected to like if something was going to be stripped down, I felt like I'm going to enjoy Blue Christmas. Like, I did not enjoy Blue Christmas.
No. Yeah, this and they open, Just Like Christmas, the opening track is very kind of poppy and bouncy. And the album afterwards just is like, oh, somebody has slipped into a depression here for the rest of this. And
Just Like Christmas would be perfect in like sort of the opening montage to some Christmas movie,
I'm sure it's been. I'm sure that it has been somewhere. Yes.
But no, boy, the album just takes a left turn after that song.
Yeah. Well, one and done on that one, perhaps.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Okay, so moving on. I have a reputation for not listening to any new music, and it's pretty accurate, to be honest. But I sought out a Christmas album that was released this year, not with the sole intention of reviewing it here, but just wanting to expand my horizons and check out something that was just coming out now. So we got Cuban Christmas. Excuse me. Let's try that again. Cuban Christmas. Oh, third time's a charm. Cuban Christmas by the Sarabanda. I was not familiar with the Sarabanda's work, nor am I particularly familiar with Cuban music in general, but I thought it would be fun to check out. So, Adrian, what did you think?
How did you hear about this, Tom? I want to ask you to explain yourself. How did you find this?
A couple months ago, I typed in Christmas music on Amazon, and I just saw what came up to see if there was any like albums that were just being released, and this was one of them.
Yeah, I wondered. Sarah, the band is called the Sarabanda, but was put together. Sarah, I want to say Sarah Willis, but I could be totally wrong on that. The French horn player.
Yeah,
she's like a famous French horn player,
Willis.
Right?
Yeah.
I was wondering if maybe that's how you got.
So that's also part of it. Is once I looked at it, because my oldest daughter plays French horn. So once I kind of was digging through Christmas albums that were coming out this year, and I saw that there was a French horn player putting out a Christmas album, that definitely influenced my decision to purchase it. I guess spoilers for got it on some form of media. But yeah, that also was a draw. The fact that it's a French horn.
I didn't know
player.
if you had been searching out French horn and that's how you came across it, or you knew of this band. But I really, really enjoyed this album.
Yeah,
it is upbeat. It is exciting. It's Cuban music and really lots of instrumental. Mostly instrumental. And I thought this was a great album. I was surprised when I opened this up on Spotify and I saw that the band only has, Spotify, Neil Diamond. I don't know the number, but Neil Diamond, 6 million listeners a month, crazy numbers for some of these bands, right? This band, 27,000 listeners a month. That might as well be some like garage band from Toledo with that number. So I was like, okay, who is this? Who is this new, lesser known group? But they really did well on this one right away. First track, I knew I would like this whole album. There is like a Cuban Nutcracker suite in there, and I loved
awesome.
all of those Nutcracker songs. I think because they were familiar tunes, but they were done in kind of a new way that really, I feel like sometimes you do things in a different way and you make it worse, but they really highlighted the strong parts of the music and made it so much better. It was really an enjoyable album for me, for sure.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one too. I would say the highlight, as you mentioned, was the Cuban Nutcracker Suite. And I didn't really get into like the liner notes on this, but it sounded like they still had bassoon, which is essential for the Nutcracker Suite, unless they were playing with some other very similar sounding instrument. You'll be relieved to know that it sounds like the bassoon is still there. Also really enjoyed, even though it's not really a traditional Christmas song, I really enjoyed the Brandenburg Concerto that they do on there.
Yep.
That was great. I think it's hard to make Jingle Bells interesting a lot of the time, but this is a really cool version of Jingle Bells. And then there is some vocal stuff on both on We Wish You a Merry Christmas and on Feliz Navidad, the closer. And that's fun too. I thought this was a great album. I was really pleased. It did just come out just in this fall, so
it's only been out like
it's only been out maybe 2 months,
2 months today. Yeah, 2 months today or so.
I really liked this record, and I certainly encourage everyone to check it out. Definitely fills a void in my collection of Cuban Christmas music, which I'm happy to say now we can check that box.
Yep. Well, and this one actually, thank you for sharing this with me, because Christmas music came up at work this week. People were talking about Christmas music, and I shared this with people at work. So maybe it'll be 28,000 listeners, before we know it. But yeah, great. This is a great album.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Moving on. Let me go to my list. Oh, let's see. I have some good ones left. If we're talking about Dirgy, let's talk about Bright Eyes. The band Bright Eyes, you may be familiar, Conor Oberst of Bright Eyes, put out a Christmas album in 2002. And it's right there with 1999, Low's Christmas album, kind of the same feeling, same vibes. Tom, what did you think of this Bright Eyes Christmas album?
Well,
what do you think of Bright Eyes in general? Let me back up. What do you think of Bright Eyes in general? You're not a fan, I don't think, right?
Here's one of my notes. Has Conor Oberst ever done a second take? Like, has he ever finished recording vocals on a track and the producer comes on the little PA system and says, "Hey, Conor, can we do one more take of that?"
We could do better.
I picture him as always being like, "Look, I got a tea time in 30 minutes. We can crank out 2 more of these. Let's keep it moving." One take. He is one take Conor. You cannot convince me that he's recorded these vocal tracks more than once. In spite of that, I liked this better than Low. There were a few on here that I did like. I did like his version of Blue Christmas.
Yes, same.
I enjoyed his version of Little Drummer Boy. And again, Silver Bells. I've still never heard a bad version of Silver Bells, and it's got kind of this choir thing going on, and I found that pretty enjoyable. What I didn't enjoy was the sort of the more somber songs, because they just end up getting sort of maudlin. And I kind of think that that's not just a Conor Oberst issue. It is difficult to pull off a sad Christmas song. Like, you can do it, but you need a lot of talent. And because otherwise it just comes off as like, well, I just used the word maudlin. It comes off as maudlin, just I'm trying to enjoy the Christmas season. Like,
right.
Could you not?
Right.
So you
well,
really
I agree that this one, especially, he did Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
But he did the happy lyrics. Very,
have a Merry Christmas. No, it was no merriment, no enjoyment in that. No, that I gave that one 2 thumbs down. Just kind of very blah. I thought same with Little Drummer Boy. You like Little Drummer Boy, but I thought that one was kind of boo. There were some jaunty tunes on here that I liked. Blue Christmas, I agreed that one was a good version. God Rest You Merry Gentlemen was a good one on this one. Tom, what did you think of the final track on this album?
I did have a note. I put Night Before Christmas was ... something.
Yeah.
I could have done without this sort of like,
it's just a reading
of A Night Before Christmas with sort of some background.
Right. And I wonder who is the person that read it. I don't think it was Conor Oberst, was it?
But I don't. It was his dad.
Maybe.
It sounded like an older gentleman.
It was Tom Waits. No, I don't know who it was.
So lucky. The other thing I put out here about Conor's voice. You're familiar with Jim Gaffigan's stand-up?
Absolutely.
You know how Jim Gaffigan, the voice of like the crowd.
Yes.
I put, it sounds like Adam Duritz doing the Jim Gaffigan crowd voice.
Maybe that's what he was going for.
Yeah. And, well, then he succeeded. Yeah, I don't know. This is not my thing. But it does sound like a Bright Eyes Christmas album. It's not like he's turning over new ground here. It sounds like what you would expect it to sound.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is, I picked this one not having heard this Christmas album, but having heard and enjoyed some of Conor Oberst's other music. I want to say that Conor Oberst made an appearance on Phoebe Bridgers' Christmas album that we talked about last year. I feel like maybe he was on there somewhere. So, they have worked together. So I thought, I might enjoy this. No, it was not up to my standards.
Yeah. Well, moving on to my last Christmas album, we have Norah Jones with I Dream of Christmas Deluxe. Or just I Dream of Christmas. I don't know if you listen to the deluxe version.
I have
This
a
came
note about
out.
Deluxe.
This came out in 2022. Adrian, what did you think of Ms. Jones? Do you like Nora Jones?
I don't typically like Nora Jones.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I maybe Come Away with Me was so overplayed in
Mm,
2000s, whenever that came out. I've never sought out her music. Not generally not a fan. This album, I think, though, has its moments, its positive moments. Um, you mentioned listen to the regular version or listen to the deluxe. Nobody needs a deluxe version of this. Spotify Deluxe is 90 minutes of music on this one. And a lot of the other albums that we did on these 10 albums, some of them, I think Ramsey Lewis is like 33 minutes. Granted,
yeah.
he's working within the confines of a vinyl album, but they could have cut this album in half and it would have been a lot better in my book. Some of these, I don't know, some of the songs I just I don't know. I don't know what Nora's doing. I feel like she sounds like a Muppet on some of these tracks. Uh, but I do appreciate that there is variety on the album. Not every song sounds alike. Not every song stylistically is the same. So that was good for me as I'm listening. I'm like, okay, this is new and different. I enjoy this. Uh, I liked This Christmas Don't Be Late, whatever the title of that song is. This kind of like French Quarter jazz feeling, right? It had this like New Orleans jazz, a lot of like slide trombone happening in there. I liked her version of Oh Holy Night, which she had guitar and pedal steel and organ. Again, I like a lot of the variety there. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what your kind of favorite tracks were from this one.
Yeah. So I do like Nora Jones, and I do like this album. Um, I liked her Christmas Calling, the opener, which is kind of an original tune. Um, you mentioned Christmas Don't Be Late. I did like her version of that. Um, I'm a big fan of the song Christmas Time Is Here, um, which is, of course, popularized on the Vince Guaraldi trio. I'm glad she did it because it's very much in her wheelhouse. You know, I liked I liked her version of Run Rudolph Run. Um, yeah, I quite enjoy. This is the sort of album that is I knew without even listening to it, I knew I would enjoy it. So I think it's a solid record. I'm relieved at. So here's the thing: I often enjoy the albums that mix both secular and hymns. I was glad that she stayed away from the hymns. Like she didn't really need to. She didn't really need to do that. The secular tunes are definitely, I think, more in line with sort of her style. So not everyone has to get into the hymns. I was relieved for once that somebody didn't try to make "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." I forgot to mention that on the Connor one. Why does everybody think that has to be like a swing? You know what I mean? Everybody like interprets that song as like it has to be like and the Bare Naked Ladies version actually did it successfully, but I don't know.
Well, that's
Gosh,
why everybody
everyone
wants to
just
copy it, because that one was the Bare Naked Ladies was so off the charts. So now everybody else is like, well, it worked
but
for
the Connor
them.
one came out first.
That's true.
Unsuccessful. I can't stand that song. God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Like the only good version is the Bare Naked Ladies version and the Jethro Tull version. Um, anyway, back to not Sarah McLachlan. Back to Nora Jones. We didn't do Sarah McLachlan. I thought about doing Sarah McLachlan.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
We're going to have our whole list done here and
Yeah.
before we even get there. What did you think of the song Last Month of the Year? Does that ring any bells for you? I know there were about 45 songs.
Yes, that's the one. It's like, isn't it like it's not January, not February?
It's just a list of the months of the year.
Helpful. I mean, you might forget which month Christmas falls in, and this is a helpful reminder. I enjoyed it.
Just it's when I heard songs like that, and I don't know if that was new for this album or where that song came from or what the history of that song itself is, but when I heard that, I was like, people need to stop trying to write their own Christmas songs just to write their own Christmas songs and just stick to what we have, because nobody needs to hear this list of months as this is not going to be the next chestnuts roasting on an open fire. No way.
There are a lot of Christmas songs that do this sort of repetition, though. If you think of like the 12 Days of Christmas, or Children Go Where I Send Thee, or they're a little more creative than this one. But I still, I mean, she has enough musical talent that she can make something that's vocally very repetitive, interesting, in my opinion, and I enjoy it.
Okay. Yep. That's a good point. I'll give you that.
So, all right. Well, Adrian, we got one last album.
More,
so take
last
us
one.
home.
Yeah, this one was I was quite surprised to come across this my final album here. And this is one that when we talk about, like, the band is contractually obligated to put out a Christmas album, I wondered if this fit into that mold. But in the year 2000, right? 2000, we have Christmas Time Again by Leonard Skinner. What a random, weird offering we have here. And I was so Christmas Time Again is a song name, title track. But I was confused. I was like, where's their first Christmas album? I thought that this should be a second Christmas album with that name, Christmas Time Again, but it's not. Don't be confused. It's their one and only Christmas album. What did you think about this one, Tom? Leonard Skinner's.
This is not one I was familiar with. I had no idea Leonard Skinner had put out a Christmas album, especially like in the year 2000. What a weird, like, I would understand if it had been earlier, and I would understand if it had been like in the last 10 years. What an odd time to put out a Christmas record.
Yeah. Maybe they were low on cash. They needed a easy buck.
It came out exactly 1 week after Heartbreaker by Ryan Adams.
There you go. I did not know that, but I do now.
I really liked the upbeat songs. The opener, Santa's Messing with the Kid, I thought that was a great tune. Santa Claus Wants Some Lovin' is an awesome song.
That's funny, yeah.
I liked their version of Run Run Rudolph. Like, it's hard to make a bad version of.
I think Run Run Rudolph, of all the tracks that they did, that was the one that was perfect for them on this album.
Totally.
Like, that
totally.
was
The
absolutely.
soloing was great,
Yeah. Not many people could do that better than they did.
I liked the closer too, that Skinnerd family thing that like talks about like 38 Special and like,
Well, listen, today I learned, do you know this, that they are family? So yes, I did not know that. So for people like me that didn't know, by the time this Leonard Skinner album rolls around in 2000, the lead singer is Johnny Van Zant, who is the younger brother of Ronnie Van Zant, who was the original lead singer and founded Leonard Skinner. And their brother, Donnie Van Zant, is the founder and singer of 38 Special, who sings Hold On Loosely. You would know it if you heard it. So we've got Johnny, Ronnie, and Donnie here. I had no idea. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, what an interesting connection. Yeah. So yeah, the family track at the end was cool to hear them all to come together.
I will say the slower tunes on this one, and there is one track, and I'm going to get the name wrong. I better look it up. Like their version of Green Sleeves, that's like instrumental. It's piano. I like kind of like, why is this on here? And I don't want to like put down the subject matter of this because it's a heartfelt song, but Mama's Song is tough.
Yeah, they needed a ballad. They needed something to tug at your heartstrings. So
that one is, that's a tough listen, man.
Yeah, I thought this one, I liked Classical Christmas. There's a tune called Classical Christmas, an instrumental on here that I thought was really good. Like we said, Run Run Rudolph, I thought was good. There's a song, Hallelujah, It's Christmas, with 38 Special, all of that. Yeah, so they, some standard and some originals. I definitely prefer the standards on this one, but there were some fun, the fun ones like Santa Claus Wants Some Lovin', like you said, and the Santa's Messing with the Kid, the opening track. So a couple fun ones in here, but just funny to pull up. If you like Leonard Skinner's kind of Southern rock music and you're looking for a Southern rock Christmas album, there you go. You found one. Maybe the one and only. Can you think of any other Christmas albums like this?
This one is up and down, but I'm glad they made it. I'm not mad at this album, and it's definitely. I mean, it's got a few tracks that are a lot of fun. I mean, check out Santa's Messing with the Kid. Check out Run Run Santa Claus Wants Some Lovin'. Those are all really a good time.
All right.
We have
Are we we're through our 10?
We have wrapped up our list, so that means we need to rank. So you will rank the albums that I picked, and I will rank the albums that you picked.
Oh my, I was not prepared for this, but I could do that.
Oh, yeah.
I will rank the albums that you picked. Okay,
yes.
You want let's see.
So we'll each do number 5. We'll each do number 5. We'll each do number 4. So
Yeah. Your worst album that you chose was Bob Dylan. By far and away. I never want to hear that album again. Bob Dylan. Out.
So the worst, I went back and forth. And even though it has a song that I like better, it's the Low album. The rest of the album is so bad that even though I really enjoy Just Like Christmas,
I would probably agree with that. So there's no hate in my heart for that one. Number 4. Let me look at your list. Number 4. Okay. Here's how, it's going to go number 5 and then a huge gap of how much, and then all the others up here. Right. So like Bob Dylan is way below and everything else is far off from Bob Dylan. I would say number 4. Oh, I'm torn. I'm going to say number 4. Let's go Neil Diamond. I don't think I would pull that one up. And there weren't enough redeeming tracks on that one for me to put it up higher in the ranking, but it's not down here with Bob. It's up from Bob.
Okay. Number 4 is Bright Eyes. Didn't care much for it. Had a few from front to back. It was an easier listen than Low. So yeah.
I would agree with that one also. I think you're going to end up ranking mine the same way that I would rank mine, but we'll see. Number 3, I'm going to put Norah Jones at number 3 because as much as I, complained about her, there were moments that I really enjoyed. And I think if I could like cut that down and pick and choose the songs that I wanted to listen to again, I would absolutely enjoy, a good section of that album. So I'm going to pick Norah Jones as number 3.
That's fair. Number 3 is Leonard Skinner. As I said, there are some bright spots on the album. It's worth checking those out.
Okay. Number 2 for me, Andy Williams, a classic. You can't put him down at the bottom of the list. There's no way.
The top 2 was tough. I am going to put.
Oh, okay.
Great album. It's a great album. And in most top 5s, it would be number.
Okay. I would agree with that, I think. Number 1 for me, the Sarah Banda, Cuban Christmas. That was a great album. I will listen to that again. I might even go purchase it. Yeah.
You should.
I might
Support
even do
the
that.
Sarah Banda.
Yeah. That's good. Great album. Thank you.
Probably pronounced. Yeah.
Who knows? Well, they're German also, by the way, or Sarah is. They're from the Berlin Philharmonic.
Yeah.
So who knows how they pronounce it?
Who knows?
But thank you again, Tom, for sharing that album with me because I appreciate that one. Enjoyed that a lot.
We're just a reminder, we're all capable of growth. We can all discover new music, even when we're, old and curmudgeonly.
Once every 5 or 10 years.
But I'm not going to make a habit out of it. Number 1, of course, is Stevie Wonder. It's better than anything I picked. You should go out and buy it if you don't own it.
I wonder if that's been reissued. Can I go and find it tonight on vinyl somewhere?
I don't know. I don't know if it has.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. I don't own that one on vinyl.
But that's a good lead-in.
Yeah. Which of these do you own on vinyl, Tom?
Well,
we know you have Cuban Christmas on vinyl.
Not on vinyl. I have Cuban Christmas on CD. Yes. Although they do have it on vinyl. but it was much cheaper on CD. So I have Stevie Wonder, Someday
Oh
at
man.
Christmas.
Did you buy that on Sunday? Were you the one that got it or have you
No.
had it?
You know, I went with my daughters last year and I let them each pick out a Christmas album, and my younger daughter picked this. No,
Good job.
my
Good
older
choice.
daughter picked this. Anyway, one of them picked that. It was a good choice. I have Ramsey Lewis, Sounds of Christmas. Also have more Sounds of Christmas. I have a Neil Diamond Christmas.
I
Still
knew
in
you
the
would have
shrink
that
wrap
one.
because I just bought it.
I knew. I was like, this Tom owns this
Yeah.
one. Yep.
And I have Nora Jones, I Dream of Christmas. I am pretty sure I have a CD version of Bob Dylan. I know I have it somewhere.
Wow. You should
But-
definitely not dig that up.
I will at some point. Yeah,
And you have a wide selection of those.
I do.
good
And then
group
I
of them.
have like Andy Williams on various compilations. I don't have the actual Andy Williams Christmas album.
Yep. Well, I
about you?
left mine up on the kitchen counter, so you'll just have to
okay.
pretend that I have them. I have Ramsey Lewis, which
Very
we
nice.
have been playing nonstop. I listened to it, I think, twice today, not for the podcast reasons, but just for having it on. It's great to have around the house, play that at breakfast time with the kids. And I have Low, which is low, I guess, a low point that I own low on that. But that was a husband purchase. That was Andy's purchase. So those are the two that I have. I will definitely be seeking out a few of these on vinyl soon for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have been forbidden from buying any more Christmas albums for the rest of this year because I
Well,
bought quite a few.
I was going to say you've met your quota, so you're good.
Yes. So yeah, so next year we will of course look forward to doing this again. I think we've kicked around the idea of expanding it to compilations next year, which were expressly forbidden this year. But yeah, we will. There are some, of course, incredible Christmas compilations that I would love to
And
discuss
who knows?
here.
Maybe you'll find 5 brand new artists
Maybe.
putting out Christmas albums in 2026, and we won't need compilations anyway. We'll see what happens.
Well, any last Christmas thoughts, Adrian, before we
No, I would
things up?
say I hope everyone enjoys the season and has great times with their family and friends, and puts on a really good Christmas album during that, makes some memories that involve some of those Christmas tunes that we all know and love, and maybe some new tunes as well. Merry Christmas from us,
Absolutely.
a courtesy listen. Yeah, Tom.
And I would echo all that. We did not have a terribly active 2025. But yeah, Adrian and I will seek to be more courteous in our listening and our output in 2026. So we appreciate everyone being along with us for the ride at Christmas time and throughout the year. So thanks to everyone. Happy holidays. And until next time, remember, everyone's a critic and most people are DJs. Good night, Harrisonburg. There will be no encore.